broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers! How much do you love this song, and how much do you love Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce? This is our after show here at AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we are covering Season 2, Episode 8, Rule number 78, Labels Are for Goods. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, rate, review, subscribe. We love hearing your feedback, YouTube comments, and tweets, and we have missed them lately. We know we were gone for a few weeks, but please keep on commenting because you guys have such amazing feedback about the show. I have the beautiful Lindsey Murphy here with me this evening.
Hey guys, it's actually Lindsey Miller. Murphy was
of
my
course.
That's all right. For some reason, my emails all still go from like my maiden name, and I just recently changed with the Social Security Office my name. So it's Lindsey Miller. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rockin' Mama Life.
And that is those are two very great generic names. Those are.
Yes. I know. I didn't even have to change my monogram. Not that I get many things monogrammed, but if I did, they would all still work.
Well, Lindsey Miller, I am so sorry about that. And of course, you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, and AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. Let's get into tonight's episode. It was intense. Dr. Harris and Abby, we didn't get a lot of like man loving this episode.
No, not a whole lot of man loving.
No. We started off strong though, in bed.
Of course.
Dr. Harris. I almost want to abbreviate Dr. Harris. I don't even know why. I know I don't like him, but I like him.
I do not like Dr. Harris.
He's
so, just oily to me. You know, he's just a little sleazy.
Yeah, I mean, their relationship, let's talk about that for a second.
Dysfunctional at best.
It's weird.
It's so weird.
I don't see anything good coming from this.
Well, and I don't understand, and maybe it's again, we've seen with the writing on the show, they sort of make jumps and leaps, and I'm not sure if there's been some leaps that we've missed, or if it's really supposed to come across as what the F is happening, he basically put her on the pay no mind list, and then now they're canoodling in bed, and she's like, are we in love? What?
She turns into a weird, annoying version of herself when she's
so annoying with Dr. Harris.
Yeah, I don't remember her acting that way with Will, who was someone other than Jake.
She was normal and free and not crazy. She looks at him with the crazy eyes.
She
does.
When
they say she's got the crazy eyes, she's probably every guy's worst nightmare when she's with Dr. Harris. Oh. But you know what I mean? That woman that's just I love you, let me have your babies. That's kind of how she is.
Well, I do, and also, we have her job kind of backing this relationship, so it's half her wanting an image.
Yeah, it's all about the image. I think my favorite part, though, is when she was are we, what are we? What do we call ourselves? And he's I think we really need to get to know each other before we can define ourselves, as they're canoodling in bed after sex, because clearly they know each other quite well, quite intimately, but not enough to
really seal the deal. He missed her a lot when he was in whatever foreign country he was in last week.
Yes, but did he miss her? Did his man business miss her?
Yeah, I think that Abby's just... I think
convenient.
She's great. I just think in general, as a person, she's very good at sex.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Must be the lingerie.
Yeah, she just knows.
I think for him, she's just convenient. That's the feeling I get, is that he's she's, good and bad, and she's here, and she's eager, and she's ready to please. But you know what I mean? Like, it sounds terrible, but that's just what it feels like. And she thinks that it's something more, and it's clearly not.
See, I actually disagree with you. I think that he doesn't want to like her, and he said that a bunch of times because she's inconvenient. She's clingy and has a lot of issues and baggage, and he is drawn to that. I think he's drawn to the crazy, which just makes it all still truly dysfunctional.
I mean, maybe, but I still feel like he doesn't really want her as a person in a relationship, but when he's lonely and bored and wanting to get his jollies off, like, she's there, and he knows she'll be there, and he knows she'll show up, and they'll have a good time.
Well, we'll see. I think the next few weeks will definitely determine that. Please let us know what you guys think.
Yes.
We have Lindsey in the chat right now, and if you're watching later, comment on YouTube, because I would love to know what everyone thinks about this, and Isis is not here, and neither is Tara.
No.
So we will be interested to hear their opinions about this next week.
Yes.
So we have something called SplitCon.
Yes, SplitCon, which my first thought was, does this really exist? And I will have you know, I Googled it, and there apparently is a convention in Minnesota called Divorce Divas or something to that tune. It's in its 7th year, and it is a convention for divorced women to congregate and find the hope.
I saw a few men in the video that I saw.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
There may have been men there, too. Well, there were men at SplitCon.
Yeah, there were. SplitCon was a really weird thing. Abby was going to promote divorce. Oh my god, it was amazing. It didn't make you like cringe at all.
Oh, it was hysterical and amazing, and like kudos to whoever cast this episode, because the man who was in charge of SplitCon like could not have been more perfect. He was just everything I expected and so much more, to like the awkward laughter and just everything about him was like exactly who you envisioned would be in charge of SplitCon 2016.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the girls that came up to Abby were really funny. I mean,
oh my gosh.
I saw the little clip of this weeks ago where what did she say? May the divorce be with you.
Yes.
And I just like laughed weeks ago when I saw that commercial for it.
The unwelcome mat, like all of it was just so. I don't know if you've been to like any conventions like this.
I've been to Comic-Con, so yeah.
I haven't been to Comic-Con, but I've been to like baby conventions, and it was very similar to the they have like a new mom first aid kit, and apparently that they're selling the divorcee first aid kit, which I thought was
a lot of cool swag. Barbara was with her. Abby and Barbara's relationship definitely starts to grow in this episode. You know, Abby feels as though after all the feedback that she's getting from people, that what they're receiving is not exactly what she's meaning to put out, which is like, get a divorce immediately, don't stay married, don't try, just leave.
Yeah, I love this. I really like this episode because I've not been very shy about my dislike for Abby of late. And I actually really liked her in this episode. And I think that at first I was like, do I just really not like this actress? And I don't think it's that. I actually think she's a great actress, because I can go from one episode to like hating her to really feeling for her. And I think in this episode it was really nice because she finally became self-aware of how she was coming across to the rest of the world. And you saw her be real and have like that realization of, this is BS what I'm selling. And I think that it's very, what I loved about it is, I'm married. I've been married for almost 5 years now. And marriage is hard work. And I think, the scene with the young blonde chick who was like, I got divorced because it was like hard. And then Abby was like, what? She had this moment. And I think that that's really sadly very common. I think people in this day and age tend to think divorce is a really easy option. I think there's two types of marriages. One's where they work really, really hard to make it work. And like we've seen with Abby and Jake, it just isn't working. And they put everything into it, and it's exhausting, and it's hard, and it's horrible. And then there's people, like Barbara, where clearly her husband was a horrible person and left her for her sister, which is awful. But then I think there's a lot of young people that are getting married and just don't want, you know, it's not all googly eyes and rainbows, and they get past like that stage and they just don't want to put in the work that it requires to have a healthy, loving relationship.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I at least just feel like that has so much to do with getting married too young. Mm-hmm. And especially in this day and age, it's just statistics. Like, just wait, don't go on a whim, and, you know, what's the point?
But, like, that's the thing, is that I feel like marriage has lost a lot. Like, for me, marriage is a lifelong commitment, and it means something. And my husband and I were together for 7 years before we got married, which was way too long. I was like, put a ring on it. But we had the time. We didn't rush into it. We knew what we were, you know, we knew what we were buying, you know, what we were selling. Like, we got it. And I think because divorce is so common now, I mean, literally 1 in 2 marriages ends in divorce, that people go into marriage just thinking, oh, well, if it doesn't work, I just get divorced.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think that's really unfortunate.
I do too, and I think Abby does too.
Yeah.
She really wanted her marriage to work, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but, like, you know, she tried to get it to work again, and she wants to talk about those things and wants to be honest, but her fan base, which is great that she has one now, again, is just not supporting that. So she's supposed to be the keynote speaker. Yes. She wants to change her speech, and then last minute she doesn't. And what did she say at the beginning? Like,
are we divorced
yet?
Yeah,
are we divorced yet?
Woo!
And everyone just loved it, like they knew they would. And after her speech, she felt like, it's okay.
I was surprised by that, too. Were you surprised by her reaction when she came out?
Yeah, I was like, because I watched the episode twice, and I thought I had been delusional, but really it was Abby that was delusional.
Right.
Because I thought
there were, like, tears in her eyes, and it looked very painful for her to be like, are we divorced yet? And then you see her come out, and she's like, yeah, I'm spreading hope. And Barbara's just sort of like...
Yeah, and, you know, like I said, her and Barbara connect. First of all, when you go to a convention with someone, you gotta, it's a long time. You're gonna be friends for life after that. But she starts to agree with her about things and kind of integrate Abby into her personal stuff that she had kind of dribbled along before. So that was really nice. And then when they go back to Shishi, Abby just decides that she regrets what she did in her speech. She doesn't believe in it, and she wants to tell the truth. What did you think about that?
I really liked it. I didn't see it that she regretted what she did. I think she really, in that moment, was like, I am giving these people hope, and maybe the way she reconciled it, and this is me overthinking it because I was confused, was that maybe... the way she's seeing it is there's going to be those people like that young girl who are like, yay, you're my divorce hero. But there's probably also going to be people that are just like her, that have worked really hard, and they're trying to find some joy, some hope, some, you know, bright side to it, and she could be that for them, and maybe that was, like, really exhilarating. But I felt like when she got back to Shishi, I think she still believes in all the stuff that she was selling. But I think she now realizes that what she's selling is only one side of the story, and she wants to tell all of it. And I think it's great, and I think Barbara really respects her and agrees with her, because that's what Barbara's been saying all along, is like, really? With the rainbows and the flowers and the daisies on the divorce? Like, I'm glad you're having such a great experience, but that's really not how it's like for the rest of us. And
yeah, it's fun, their friendship.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue to be more fun.
Because I think they're very similar. I think they're two very similar people in very different life circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, like Barbara doesn't have just endless amounts of money to pour herself into little fancy parties and fun coffee dates and yoga in the park with her friends to get her mind off of the reality of her life.
Well, my big question, like, all this time still has been, okay, Abby...
Where's the money come from?
Well, I know that, okay, she has this deal with Shishi, but, like, really, how much can Shishi...
Well, I think the money's from her book deal previously. I mean, she was a very successful
but she was
and
struggling financially with Jake. Like, they talked about it, too. Like, crap, we are in a bind. And, now money isn't talked about anymore. There's the book deal and then there's she. But yeah, at the end of the day...
She must have gotten a hefty advance on that book deal. Anybody know what the going rate on a book deal on divorces?
And that book was pumped out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I mean, she's a wealthy lady. But they discussed a lot about money problems and up until like a month ago. So it must have just all been fixed. Then we have Delia, which is she's a big part of the episode.
Delia.
I can't. So she basically tells Albert this episode that...
Which she's told him before.
Yeah, so many times. But this time she's serious.
Oh, yeah.
That she just can't take the guilt.
He's so creepy.
It's...
I just, when he in the office and he was like, let me take it, I just, I don't know. Maybe he does it for some people, but no.
Isis thinks he's sexy.
Isis.
I mean, I don't like...
Do you guys agree? Is he sexy? I'm not on that train. Not
yeah.
on the Albert train. He's just
Please let us know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't mind his character. I don't like...
I can't figure his character out.
Me either, because it doesn't seem like he wants to leave his wife, but you could tell he's always been obsessed with Delia.
Yeah, and I can't quite put my finger on how I feel about him, because there's moments where I'm like, he's super sleazy and gross, and then there's moments when I feel like he genuinely does really care for Delia, and that there's something more there, but then he turns around and just does something super sleazy and gross, and you're like, nah.
Yeah,
So I just can't quite figure it out.
I completely agree with that.
I'm not a fan.
And, we have Gordon, who's only been in a little bit of this episode. Yeah. And, when Delia's around him, it's, like, sweet. It's almost as though she's more obsessed with him now that she's having an affair.
I think she's more aware of how she could lose him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think she knows that at some point it's going to come out, because it always comes out. It's going to come out. And I think that every time she sees him now, she realizes how good because it is good. And that's what scared her initially, and she's ruining it herself. And I think she knows that.
Yeah, she is. And she had... What kind of party was it this time? This little get-together. Abby wasn't able to make it because she was at SplitCon.
They were deciding on some sort of something for the wedding. Like a... I think it was food. Was it?
Yeah, and Gordon's mother was there. Joe was there. Phoebe was there.
Yeah.
And Delia is acting very jumpy. You could tell in the look in Phoebe's eyes that... And Joe... picked up on it weeks ago, I think, that Phoebe's like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And she's just very jumpy, and she then goes to Abby's house to just tell her everything. Why do you think it's Abby? Because she thinks that she would be the least judgmental because after everything she's done?
I think they all go to Abby because they know you don't want to let your friends down. You don't want to let people down. And if somebody else is really flawed, then you're going to be less worried that they're going to judge you. Like, it's clear, like, Abby has made a lot of mistakes. And I think that they go to her, because they're friends with her and they're close to her, but also Abby's very honest. And she, like her or not, she puts everything out there and she doesn't hold back and she doesn't really judge. So it's, I think that's why they all ended up there. But I love that scene because you literally have like 3 people sitting on the couch, all big fat liars, and none of them coming clean about what's really going on in their lives.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's a secret, but I just want to bring this up that, Becca's in the backyard.
Right. Where is Becca?
Becca's in the guest house. I thought when Abby offered that to her last week, she wasn't... Her? No, I thought that Becca was like, oh, that's so nice, but like, no freaking way.
No,
but
she's just keeping the baby mama of her ex in her pool house.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm like, what is Abby doing to her back there?
Premise for a horror movie.
It really does sound like a premise for a horror movie because, I mean, it's one of the reasons why Abby is becoming more and more likable is her sensitivity to this whole situation and to this girl that doesn't really have a family.
Yeah.
And
I think deep down, Abby's a good person that just makes really crappy life decisions.
Yeah, for herself. But for other people, you know, she just wants to help everyone. And I still can't wait to see what happens with Becca. I just liked that it was like, well, my guest house is taken. But she didn't say by who.
She didn't mention, hey, by the way,
it's Becca, the CW baby, and the CW mama. So the whole Delia thing. It would
great if she just showed up and like you saw Becca just standing in the window watching.
Yeah, eating a pint of ice cream, being
and rubbing her belly.
Hey guys, I think I'm gonna barf soon. Can I have help? It's gonna be very interesting, and I miss the kids too. I definitely miss the kids this episode.
Where the kids are with the Manny, right?
I guess.
She said they were with her brother's Manny, who was helping out, but then she was home, so why? I don't know. I mean, maybe it changes when your kids get older, but when I'm out of town and I come back, I pick my kids up.
Yeah, it's like
apparently not.
Nope. Just giving them some space. Speaking of giving children space, we have Phoebe, who just
Phoebe.
Yeah, I
Phoebe.
love her character so much, and I hate what they're doing to her character. I feel like she's chasing her tail all the time, and it's just getting annoying.
Yeah, what annoys me, and I think this is as a woman, and I apparently recently have become a feminist, but the past couple episodes we've really seen Phoebe shatter a lot of stereotypes. You know, she's the model and blah blah blah, and she's pretty and she just has things handed to her and she doesn't have to do anything. And I think we've really seen her start to examine what it means to be objectified and be a woman, and taking these classes and getting her GED and really trying to do something for herself and for her life and find herself and not be dependent on guys and whatever. And then this episode, we turn her back into this kind of I'm clueless. The whole time I kept thinking, she's so much smarter than this.
Yeah, and
she's so much smarter than this.
Yeah, and that this dude Joaquin is just full of shit. I mean, could have told you that last week.
Joaquin looks like the guy that didn't make the boy band.
Yeah, exactly. You know, she's at his art studio, being a model, but then also being taught art. I don't know. It turns out all of
and the art with the clowns and
it just wasn't good, and it was weird.
It's weird.
And Joaquin doesn't even really make the art.
No.
It's this other guy, JD, who is this nerdy,
who seems like he's been beaten.
He's like a dog.
He was really
he was scared of Phoebe.
And scared and awkward. And I was like, does Joaquin keep him in a hole in his basement? What is happening?
It was weird. I didn't understand. I was like, are we supposed to connect with this and be Phoebe, I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I still don't quite get it, but she ends up realizing that Joaquin doesn't make any of his own art and is putting her on this model pedestal, which is what she doesn't want to be on, and keeps on talking about her being on the cover of this Vogue and that Vogue.
Yeah.
It's really Italian Vogue, right? Or was it French?
Italian. It was Italian. She corrected him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was Italian Vogue, and she leaves. And
she said, I'm not a girl in a bikini at a car show. This is bullshit, which was amazing.
Yes.
But it should have been said 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah. It just maybe, even before she even met him, it just she just should be saying that. That should be her new bumper sticker.
Yeah. I'm gonna make that my bumper sticker.
Yeah. God, don't worry. No one's going to want that from me. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's why I laughed, because clearly I'm not often mistaken for a bikini model.
I feel so bad for her. So sad. Okay, so our final storyline, which is a big one, which I loved, was Joe, Scott, Charlene, and From Kiss. And this storyline really gets me. It infuriates me. It's so crappy what they're doing to Joe. And so Charlene comes in with From Kiss one day, and, From Kiss says she'd really like to be part of the LLC and a managing partner.
love Megan Hilty. Hate Charlene.
Me too. She's so awful. I love
So
Megan Hilty
awful.
too. Like in Smash, Megan Hilty's character, you learn to like her.
Right. There's a likability about her. Charlene, there's no liking
No,
her.
I just need her to like
No, she is
be gone.
vapid.
And Scott played a big part in this episode.
Yes.
You know, so basically Joe just like lets go and says, okay, fine. You can come work here. Great.
But you could tell when she said that. She was like, okay, sure, come work here. Like, I don't know. When she said that, I had a feeling she was like, hopefully she'll realize that cleaning the bathrooms and actually running a store and having to do work is not super duper fun.
Well, here's what I wanted to happen, and it didn't, but it was close enough. I wanted Joe and Scott to have a plan, and for them to know that this was coming and say,
Yeah.
okay, let's let her work here, and then you seduce her.
Yeah.
And then like it'll all blow up. But they kind of read each other's minds, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like there was like an understanding. I don't think Joe knew that he was going to do what he did, but I think they both, when they had the conversation like about her coming in, I think they both knew, you know, you can't fight it, so she's gonna have to decide that she doesn't want to be here, so let's just let her be here, you know?
Well, she ends up taking over, kind of, and giving out all these free samples. I mean, she's an idiot. She would have
She is an idiot.
run the place into the ground. I mean, I'm thinking that they're not gonna get reins of the place, her and Frumkiss, but I don't know. But she's giving away free samples, and she ends up hooking up with Scott, and Joe sees it. And, oh, she's such a witch, this Charlene.
She's so...
Like,
He won't believe you.
he'll never believe you. Always believe me. Come
And then
on.
she goes to him crying like Scott took advantage of her. Ugh, she's so yucky.
Yeah, she really is yucky. And then, you know, Frumkiss comes in the next day, tries to attack Scott. Joe's in the middle. And Joe said something that I kind of loved. I think she's been she's been very well behaved. And
Joe.
yeah, Joe has. And she said that if you know, basically like, look what you've done to me. Why are you trying to take everything from me? And if this continues, like, I will tell Zoe, their daughter, about Scott and Charlene.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't burst that bubble for her daughter yet.
No, and it made me so angry because he keeps throwing Zoe into the mix. Like, oh, play nice with Charlene, or I'm going to let Zoe know. And it's just so low and cheap and gross for him to pull her into there. But I don't agree with you. I don't think she's been playing nice all along. I think she's been scared. I think finally, and I really loved this scene, but for different reasons, I felt like she finally had the balls to, like, she's been standing up to Charlene. She's been fighting Charlene, but the real issue is Frumkiss. And that's the one who needs to, and who should, say, you know what, honey, back down. This isn't ours. This is hers. You know, this was her baby. I took everything from her. Let's let this go, and tell the lawyers to let it go. And he is not stepping up and being a man and doing that. And I was really glad that she finally realized it's not, you can hate this girl, Charlene, all you want, but it's not her you're mad at. You're mad at him, and he's the one that's doing this. And allowing it to happen. And so she finally was like, you know, you've taken everything from me. Like, this is wrong. And hopefully he'll have some compassion, but I don't get the feeling he will.
He had a twinge of it, and then I think it, like, flew away.
Well, because I think he's a weak human being. I think that Charlene, has him wrapped around her finger, and I think he wants to do the right thing for Joe, but his loyalties are with Charlene, and he knows that she will put up this huge stink, and I don't think he has the balls to stand up to her.
Oh, God. It's the blondes, I'm telling you.
She's not even probably a real blonde.
It's the bright blondes, you know, the ones that like to
bottle
catch your eye.
blondes.
The bottle blondes. It still makes you really sad. I agree with everything that you said, too, about that situation. But the thing about Charlene that's so infuriating is that she is going for it. She's not just kind of sitting there being like, yeah, it's a crappy situation and I'm not going to do anything about it. Like, she's purposely wanting to hurt to hurt Joe. And I do sometimes, I guess, tend to always blame the woman, and that's what women do. It's sucky, but I was so happy to see her stand up to Frumkus. And it was, Joe has the baddest temper, she seems so strong and tough, but at the end of the day, I think she might be one of the weaker characters.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely a, bark is worse than the bite kind of thing. I think she puts this harsh exterior, and I think we all probably know somebody like that who's like a little prickly on the outside, but they're really just prickly because they're so soft on the inside.
Yeah.
I think she's has lived a life, and I think she's very insecure and very, obviously, last week, I wasn't here last week, but, what happened last week, and I think that she has been a victim in a lot of situations, and she puts up this front of being very harsh on the outside to hopefully not get hurt.
Yeah, and she does, and in this situation, she really is being treated so poorly, so...
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible, and I think that justice will prevail. And on that note, let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Would you like to go first, Lindsey?
Oh, yes. So I want to know, I know what I think, but I want to know who you think sent the pictures of Delia and Albert.
Oh, crap.
Delia.
Totally, that's a huge thing that we left out. Yeah, right? So all of you guys know at the end of the episode, that's how it ended. Delia gets a bunch of photos of Albert and her hooking up.
I've got a 50-50 gamble that it's either Albert's wife, who he left at the lake house with his child to go do naughty things with Delia, or Gordon's ex.
I thought it could it be Gordon's ex, too.
Yeah. I think it's one of those two players.
But what about Gordon? What if he's just like what if he is playing, I thought he was maybe being a little cold. Maybe not. I don't know. In that last scene.
It was a strange scene. Because it was like, hi, I'm here. And, oh, somebody left this for you. And then maybe it's a wedding gift. And I don't know. It was an odd scene.
Yeah, and he said something about Albert. Like this was with him or something, or in his office. Something like that. I
think he said he left it with the doorman. I didn't hear anything about Albert.
I thought I did. I don't know. Let us know what it was. Because I thought he mentioned him. And then he left that.
Yeah. So that's one prediction. My other prediction is I still think Joe and Scott are going to hook up. But I also really want Joe and Jake to hook up. But he's filming a movie, so it can't happen right now. But I think it will happen eventually. I don't think, like, a relationship, but I think there will be a kiss at some point when they're sitting on their steps and conversing about life. But I really want her to hook up with Hottie Toddy Baker, Scott.
Yeah.
I think he was in love with her.
Me too. And that's why I think it's taken so long, which is nice that we didn't see what we wanted to see right away.
Yeah. Yeah, those are my predictions.
Any thoughts on Abby?
Abby. I would like to think that Abby is on the straight and narrow and getting towards, being more honest with what's happening in her life. But I think she's going to continue to... with Harris, and I don't know. I just think I think with Abby, she gets caught up in the glitz and the glamour and the money and all of the hubbub, and I think that we will continue to see her struggle with that, with like this self-awareness versus, but I have to look good to the outside world and putting on this fake front, and I think it's gonna all crumble for her again. Yeah,
I agree. I saw the preview for next week, which shows the Vegas Gigolo coming back. I forget his name. The prostitute in Vegas from last season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he comes back.
And then it'll come out that he's a prostitute. We also have another vote in the chat that it's Gordon's ex, so...
Yeah. But I think that's the most obvious choice, so I want to say that it's not.
Well, and we haven't really seen much of Albert's wife. And she's got to be a moron to not know that something is going... I don't know. I just think you always know.
Yeah,
I think it's very rare to be blindsided, like, oh, my husband is cheating on me to the extent that they are. you know.
Now that we're talking about it, like as a writer, I know when you introduce a character, like FaceTime, you show their face even if you talk about them, like Albert's wife. We got to meet her briefly. And so for the audience to put a face exactly to the name means something. So I think it was probably her that's doing it. I think that it's just not the Delia thing. It makes me very sad to see her do this, and just she's really like almost ruining herself just because she's making herself feel so miserable and guilty, and it's just very hard.
But Gordon has to find out, right? Like I am a firm believer that Gordon is going to find out what happened.
Yeah, I see a wedding finale. Like I said, something's gonna happen, but there's gonna be a wedding because it's gonna be a great party and it's gonna be a fun episode.
Ooh, wouldn't it be great if like Gordon knew and he like left her at the altar?
Oh, I think we got it. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely a Joe and Scott. I think it's already been done, but you know what? I think it would be an awesome twist to have that happen. Yeah. It would be really great because he just seemed to know tonight. I could tell.
I mean, he's got to know
that something is going on for sure.
He's got to know.
I think that Phoebe... God, I don't even know. They need to do something better with her character.
And we just ignored the fact that she left. Like, we're just not even addressing, like, she was in this class, and then she went to, like, his mom's art show with him, and then just, like, left him there for this guy that hates him. It's, like, family.
I mean, think about all of her relationships, you know, and last season there was the couple. There was the married couple.
Yeah.
Like, she's gone.
Oh, and she left with, what was his name? JD? The painter?
Yeah, well, she said she was going to. She's like, want to get tacos. But then I saw her leave on her own. Maybe he was outside.
Well, he's like a little puppy dog. He probably like just scampered behind.
I'm sure he followed her, and maybe that's what she needs. I don't know. That about sums it up for this week. Please let us know of your predictions and what you think is going to happen. We have, I believe, 4 or 5 episodes left. I want to say 5.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure. I'm terrible at math.
4 or 5 episodes.
There's some more episodes.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.